welcome back to the program. Steve Blasen here at Live Well Studios here in beautiful Monterey, California. Today I'm so excited. We have Miss Elena. You go by two different names, so I don't want to use one that you're uncomfortable with. Now, your book...
Elena Nezhinsky.
Nezhinsky. Okay. It's. I've been so excited to talk to you. You've got so many stories to tell, you know, and you come in for massage and we talk about things all over the board. You are, you've written a book, and we'll get to that later, but you've got a Russian accent. Obviously you came from Russia. When did you get out of there? And tell me a little bit about your history.
Oh, history.
How old were you when you got out of Russia?
To ask somebody Russian about history.
Yeah, go back thousands of years.
At least to the revolution,
right?
1917. Yes, I came from Russia 30 years ago, and as we spoke before, fortunately or unfortunately, I didn't lose my accent. I don't know how it happened. In 30 years, I still have the same accent as I came. I was 21. Now I'm over 50. Same accent.
So you came out of Russia at 21 years old?
Okay, so yeah, you asked me, and it's not easy for me to remember or talk about that. It's just because you know how you pass some experience and it's completely dropped from your system, and it's hard to remember and relate, but not to be too deep like this. Yes, I was born in Ukraine. My stepfather was military officer, so my childhood was in Germany.
Okay.
When the Russians was occupying.
Right.
Not my fault. I was a child. Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Those were the kind of little things that I wanted to see, because you know, in America in the 60s and 70s, we were going through the Cold War. We were hiding under our desks, and you know, just what was it? You know, a little background of, you know. I understand that, you know, you can never relate with the person that you were back then. I see what you're getting at. You know, so you got to Germany. And
yes, and in Russia I studied metallurgical engineering, and then and at 21 I came to New York. I was pregnant.
Wow.
By that time, 9 months pregnancy, and I was with my husband. We were 21 boss.
Wow.
with a child.
Hitting New York.
Yeah. No, didn't speak English, didn't have money at all.
Right.
It was very difficult. Looking back, basically all my life was very, very difficult, difficult. And because of that, I'm gonna steer you in the direction where I want to go. because my life was so difficult, and I felt like I'm not fitting in anywhere. In Russia, I didn't fit in, and coming here, of course, I didn't feel I fit in. Couldn't express myself. A lot of suffering, you know, human suffering,
right?
From the childhood. My parents divorced, and I didn't understand what was going on at that time. Nobody explained me anything, and a couple of basically months later, there was another father. And nobody explained anything. It was 5 years old, and it's affected me a lot.
Sure.
So because of all this human suffering that was there, the mind was looking for escape, some kind of resolution, and people looking for resolution in different ways.
Right.
Some go build a career and become a workaholic and escape their inner turmoil in that way. and a lot of people doing it by alcohol, drugs, just to escape that reality that they don't want to face. And a lot of people seeking spiritual awakening because they think if they awake from this little human, this little difficult the life of the little human they are, if they awake from that, they will escape their difficulties. A lot of people who are looking in a spiritual way, and you told me your mom, actually one of them, in a Christian church, right?
Right. Definitely a seeker.
A seeker, right,
and,
right.
That intrigues me, and I can tell you're a seeker, and that's kind of why I wanted to, what set you on this path.
Sure. And anybody who escape the suffering, which is they live at the moment in all different ways, and doesn't matter what it is, they all seekers because they seek something better than what it is right now.
Right.
It's very hard for the human mind to settle on what it is right now because it's uncomfortable, and mind have a tendency to not to try to fix what is uncomfortable. So we're fixing in all different ways, seeking in a spiritual way, and I'm not saying that seeking in spiritual way doesn't have any benefit other than escape. That's not true.
Sure.
Because I found that there are benefits, of course.
Sure.
But I found that most seekers, and me included, we start. Imagine if you are happy, why would you seek?
Right.
Why would you want to achieve something that you content in the moment, and you comfortable and you happy? And you told me about your mom who was a seeker, and you as a child probably didn't understand why, right? She was doing what she was doing.
Right.
So is my son. My son was content all like in his childhood,
sure.
And he didn't understand why I'm constantly unhappy with what's now and looking what's something in the future to change something.
That would be right.
And the same with
why aren't you happy? Why do you need to seek? Right, and I understand both sides, because that was a crazy childhood of mine too. So, you're always seeking for something. I've read most of your book, and it is called Buddha on a Bull, and it's basically your 25 years of your quest for enlightenment. Now, I don't personally understand what enlightenment is. Maybe I'm just not smart enough, or I just don't know. The only time I've ever thought of enlightenment is maybe in like a Buddhist type of thing where they talk about they will spend lifetimes trying to get to enlightenment, and it's just this lifetime is just trying to get me a little bit closer, so maybe the next lifetime I can take it a little bit further. And when I hear somebody, I'm chasing enlightenment for this lifetime, you know what I'm saying? That's not what I understood enlightenment to be. Maybe I just don't understand it. Can you delve into that a little bit differently?
No, I had the same questions, this word enlightenment it's like a magnet, It's for some reason it has an energy there that makes you curious what it is, and makes you curious, is it possible?
Right.
And in my book, I wrote how I had this quest. Is it possible generally, and is it possible for
That's
me?
That's actually the chapter that I'm at right now, whether it's possible for you. Right.
And as I said in my book, I found that it is possible. I found that it is not possible for me. Me as Elena, this character right now,
Right.
it's not possible.
Right.
Because enlightenment is it's beyond this character.
I see.
It's a state of being which is beyond being in this human character. And we all, let me make it more clear. Everybody knows that we have a character. For example, I am a mother, and when I am a mother, in that character, I have a certain gestures, certain feelings, right? And then suddenly I go to work and I'm completely different character there. And maybe it is not that contrasting in somebody's life, but it's still, people can think about it, how many characters they actually play. Just like an actor playing a role in a movie, see it as a movie of one actor playing different roles. So enlightenment and going beyond all the roles.
Right.
Any of these roles, any of these characters. Going to the actor, and who is the actor in enlightenment is a spirit, consciousness.
Right, right.
Whatever people call it, God, whatever plays this through any of us. And that's why when people say we are one, we are not one. Right now you're sitting there, I'm sitting here, but the energy, the spirit, whatever consciousness is animating both of us is the same. That's where we are one. Not
Right.
by the table, but in that conscious.
Right. I see. I believe that you paraphrased someone else on that when you were saying in here, you can't particularly find enlightenment. You can. I got a little confused about that, and I think that's what you're covering now. If you're chasing it, you will never be able to find it.
Because
but it
who
may.
is chasing
It's
it?
not that it can't happen to you, and it may happen to you, but it won't happen if you're chasing it.
Because then you can ask the question, who is chasing it? And it's always mind, the thought,
Right.
that is not content at this very moment.
Right. Okay.
And looking somewhere in the future.
I see.
Where enlightenment is now, is
Okay.
in this moment.
Right. Right.
Because on the level of consciousness of where we are one, it's just this.
Right.
There is
right.
no future. There is no time or space
Yeah.
in that realm.
Yeah.
And we are in that realm. And we are also in this organism with this brain, with this mind, that's very individuated. And it's constructed as like a computer. It's a computer program.
Right.
And this program is saying, you are separate, you are Elena, you are in this body, you are Steve, and that's computer program. So if we can pick behind that computer program in the operating system, I'm talking like
Sure.
computer programmer right now because I was a systems analyst before.
You were really?
If you pick behind that computer program in the operating system, that's where all the programs that run on the operating systems, they are different. But in the operating systems, it's the same. 1 or 0, 1 0, 1 0, 1 0.
Just how it lines up.
The code is the same.
Right, right. I also saw you right in here. even if you were to find enlightenment, it doesn't mean the rest of your life is just going to be all rosy.
Sure.
Right.
And that's what I found, that many try to escape this little human with so much problems.
Right.
And meditating, praying, reaching, and get a glimpse. And then what happened, the mind will grab that identity. I am enlightened being, or I am awake being.
Right.
I am not a Steve anymore. Who cares about it? I am this much benevolent human being that is awake. And again, this is just a label that mind gives on experience. There was experience of maybe a unifying experience, heart-opening experience, awakening experience, more conscious experience, and then mind gives the label on and grab that experience and internalize it. Oh, now Steve is enlightened. Steve never can be enlightened.
Right.
Enlightenment is when Steve actually disappears. When Steve, for a second, maybe for a minute, maybe for some time, it can be different timing when actually this experience happened. And then what happened, then the focus that was expanded from the little character goes back to the same character, but the character is already not the same, because at that moment there are processes that changes the brain. And so we know a lot of people get the glimpses of these experiences. We call it high experiences, right? And through different practices or through different chemicals that can happen, LSD or ayahuasca, any other way, intense meditation.
I know the answer to this because I've read the book, but have you tried any other ways? Have you tried
every
ayahuasca
way possible on a planet Earth, because
to try to get outside of your consciousness, to try to find.
Yes, because I was not, and we come back again to where I started. A lot of people trying to escape this pain that they live. Somewhere in a childhood, they contracted into a being, a little human being, that is not themselves. They couldn't be themselves. Let's say like this: they couldn't be themselves because it was not safe.
I see, right? That makes sense.
Something happened, and it can be abuse. It can be just I would say right now on a planet Earth, it's very rare when a human being can be himself or herself.
For sure.
Because they brought up in a society that requires you to be a certain way. And so the parents is already conditioned to be a certain way.
Sure.
Now they have a child, they condition the child a certain way. So it's not even necessarily you feel so much pain if you have some kind of abuse. It's just been conditioned in this life, on this planet, in this environment. You can't be yourself. You can be yourself maybe when you're very small, but then you can't do like this. You have to be like this, and you
Who
get
is yourself at the end of it?
Exactly. You contract yourself.
Right.
You contract yourself, and you start to follow some procedures. And so by the time you are a why teenagers revolt,
Act out, sure.
Because suddenly at that age they feel something wrong, because they can't be themselves. And in my case, I didn't revolt. I was so conditioned from the beginning that, and the way how my mind operates, I went inside and I contracted.
So
and
you
I
were just content,
and I conformed.
But you had a restlessness on the inside.
Exactly. That's how conforming forms. When you close up to yourself, you don't remember even how it can be yourself.
Right.
You just live by the rules of your family, of your society, and you think you think you are yourself. I remember you have no idea, because you identified with that particular character so strongly, so tight, that you don't know anything outside of this.
Right.
And that's what we see right now in a society. That's why it's very easy to bring to people any kind of information, and they will believe in it because they conditioned to believe. They conditioned to conform. They conditioned to a certain way of being.
That's a tough one for me right now. There's a lot of conformists right now that drive me crazy, driving in their car with their masks on, with their windows up. I don't understand. They're just not getting the right information, or they're just into conforming,
And so for me, I had to go so far as to reach for enlightenment,
right?
To just be myself.
I see.
And come out from that conforming, come out from suppression.
From my childhood, I've told you a little bit about my mom. She grew up in Hollywood. She was surrounded by the Hollywood people. My grandpa was a movie producer. She went to the finest colleges. She spoke 4 languages. She was head of her sorority. She was, Michigan State, blah, 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 everything. But she just was never happy. She could never, you know what I mean? And she had everything, beautiful lady, and just everything in the world going for her. But she just could never find contentment with her life. And that was so sad,
She probably didn't live herself. She lived beautiful life.
Right.
And
just always searching for something that would make her happy outside, I think.
Yes, and she was thinking that what she was looking for is outside.
Right. Or I'll find a way to fix whatever's wrong inside, which I don't think there was anything. I just think that she just wasn't content with herself. I just never understood that.
She just wasn't in touch with herself.
Right.
She was lost to herself, and she was looking for herself, but she was thinking that it's outside. She needs to do something to get in touch with herself.
Right.
I can understand this because I was looking for the same for 25 years.
Yeah.
And if I wouldn't go into spirituality, I would probably would do what other people do. They create families, a lot of children, because they think they can find themselves through external means, like through their children, through their work, making a career.
Something that will fulfill them.
Something that exactly. And you never fulfilled if you are not yourself.
Yeah.
If you are identified in the character you are, and you don't see anything else that you are, you never be fulfilled, because it's very limited for the human being. Human being is much bigger than just being in this character.
Yeah, right.
And it doesn't matter which character it is. For example, your mom became a seeker, right? And when we identified with the seeker, we start to it's become our way of being. And if you take that seeking away and say, this is right in the moment, what you're looking is right here. You are here, everything here, the being is here, the breath is here, then many
Right.
would be like, oh my God, what to do? What I gonna do?
That was my point of view as a 10-year-old. Like, everything is here for you. Why is, it just doesn't make sense to keep chasing something when, but I'm not her, so I can't say everything's there for her,
There are usually some pain that we try to escape,
Sure.
and we escape in some kind of role. Okay, so there is some pain that is real, that was real for your mom,
Yeah.
but she took herself out of that into the different, like a seeker role,
Right.
and very benevolent, like somebody who is into Christianity, somebody who is doing prayer every day, and so forth. But that pain, I don't know what the pain for her was. I know my pain that I
Right.
was trying to escape.
Sure.
And at that moment when I was escaping it, I had no idea about what I'm talking about. I had no idea about pain and everything. I was focused in that role,
Sure.
and that's the only what I knew.
Yeah. Right.
The mind gets very focused in one way, and basically, so these glimpses of awakening or enlightenment, what we call it, what the benefit is, let's say like this. It opens up the mind from a usual focus on to be just this one character, the
Right.
seeker, the mother, the alcoholic. I don't know, all kinds of roles we
yeah,
play,
right.
play drug addict, or whatever. Or positive roles. Successful. I'm successful. I'm achiever. All this is limiting roles, and the benefit of meditation and a prayer and technologies like that, I would call technologies like that, because it opens the mind, it expands the perception, and more you do it, the more it opens the perception, and one day there will be this understanding that I'm not just this body, not just this mind, I'm not my thoughts, I'm not my feelings, I'm not my sensations, something bigger than that. Of course, to experience in this realm, it has to be in the body. It has to be a body. It has to be all this. But we are bigger than that. We are bigger than just this human being. And it's an experience. It's impossible to understand. It's impossible to grasp with the mind, because mind is a different instrument. It's not from the realm of the spirit. So it can't describe that at all. Any description, you're already not there. It's not that. You only can experience it.
I've heard the mind. I've heard somebody speaking about the mind in that it has kind of 3 different levels. The basic, what do they call it? The reptilian mind that keeps everything basically going. The second part is creative. I'll destroy this if I try to remember, but it's basically the third layer is more of a monkey mind that's just always chattering, and it's always, and it's the second layer to discern what's right and wrong of what this monkey chatter third level is telling us. There's always just chatter going on. And as I understand meditation, I understand from your book you do meditation every day. You're very religious about it, or you were in the past.
Not anymore.
Not anymore, but in the past you were, right?
And in the past, yeah.
To try to quiet that third layer of monkey mind, to try to get to that second layer of just calming that.
So, yes, and it's and then at some point you come to understanding that you don't need to do any of it. It can chat, it can talk, it can sing. You don't need to interfere with any of it.
I see, right.
Because it's not there where you are. You are beyond that. That is a part. That it's not define you. It's just a mind doing its own work. Mind is a computer. And the computer only works when the program works. So mind works when the thoughts flowing, when you speak. When we speak right now, mind is working. So the meditation, all kinds of different meditation. There are concentration meditation, or expanding meditation, and escaping meditations, and
I didn't know there was a different type of meditation. I thought it was just
no. Yes, it is a different. There are different meditations, and for example, a concentration meditation, when you concentrate on something, and you basically imagine that the mind is like a monkey, like you said, and you train the monkey to do some kind of trick. So you do with meditation, or with prayer, with concentration, with contemplation. Contemplation is Christian meditation, for example.
I see.
That's all training tools, because you focus in the mind. You tell monkey, don't like jump all over. Let's just do one trick. So you tell in the mind, let's focus on this topic, for example, and that would be contemplation. In a Christian tradition, you would walk and contemplate on one thing. And if the mind goes away, thinking about what's for dinner tonight, then you bring it back and still contemplate. And same thing, you sit and meditate on the mantra, or you look at some image. People do different meditations, and it all starts with concentrating. Concentrating is training the mind to focus. Because without that, and if you're trying to deal with the mind, and you will only find that mind will take you on a ride. Yeah. Basically.
I've tried to meditate. I'm not very good at it. My mind wanders too much. I was listening to one gentleman on the interweb talking about to maybe close your eyes and picture maybe a TV screen, and more of like a nature scene, and your thoughts are like birds flying past the screen. Just don't let any of them land. Just keep them moving. Don't let those birds land, And I thought that was kind of an interesting thing, and I tried that, and it didn't seem to help me much. But then I was listening to a monk.
Were you able to visualize?
I was.
Okay, because some people are not visual. Like I'm not visual, I can't visualize.
I see, okay.
But if you can visualize, then that's, for example, that also focuses the mind
into
creating an image.
Right, right. And then I was listening to a monk, and he was saying that picture in your mind a monkey, kind of like Curious George. I don't know if you know who that is, Curious George, but this is a little monkey that we used to have in childhood books. And picture him with a lever and one pull back to inhale, push back to exhale. Just give that monkey a job. So he doesn't have anything else to do. Just make sure that's, and literally picture him operating that inhale.
It's for
exhale.
visual.
Maybe that doesn't work with you because you can't visualize.
Yeah.
But that seemed to help me much more than anything else.
For people who can't visualize, they can use the breath. The breath is a very commonly used tool in meditation because the breath is always here, right? We don't have...
Right. That was a good combination of the two of them, visualization and using your breath. So,
Yeah. So can concentrate on a breath or also... We start with concentration because, like we said, we need to sit that monkey down
and shut him up.
And shut him up. Right.
Otherwise, he's talking about dinner or talking about whatever.
And then what comes later, when you actually can concentrate the mind and just basically focus the mind. Just to be able to sit, because when we start to meditate and we sit down, we can sit more than 3 minutes.
We can or cannot.
No, we can't.
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah, I don't meditate right now. If I sit down, I don't do formal meditation. We are talking about formal meditation right now.
Okay, is that different from? I know you in your book you were talking about.
This is formal meditation.
You went through a period of,
Sure.
I mean, your butt was numb, everything was hurting, but you're just not going to quit.
When you do anything as a discipline, it doesn't matter what kind of meditation, it's a formal meditation.
I see.
It's like exercise. You go to the gym, it's a formal way for you to move the body. If you go walk from office to your house, you're not doing it specifically, you just need to go there. That would be a natural exercise, right?
I see.
So the same, there is a formal meditation and informal meditation when you basically talk, but you are not really focused just in this character, like we're talking, but at the same time, we are conscious.
Okay.
Like if you're conscious to who you are, it doesn't matter what you do. And that's where it's interesting when you come back to who you are, and it happens in so many different ways. You don't need to be a spiritual seeker. It can happen through listening to the music, for example, or seeing some beauty in nature, or love making, or any kind of ways, right? And it's also experience. It's experience. So you know that you are in yourself, and you found yourself when this experience happen, and you don't have questions anymore. You just don't seek anymore. You don't have questions to other people what you should do, who you are.
But this is just an instance. This is just a flash.
It's a flash that changes you. That
you don't go through the rest of your life saying, I'm an enlightened person, or, you're not holding yourself above everybody else because you've reached enlightenment or anything. I don't know.
There are people who do.
I know, right? Yeah, right.
There are many
seeking to be better than you. I don't know.
See, I don't even know how you say it. I wrote a book on enlightenment, right? But I just continue to live a regular life, of a middle-aged woman in the really weird environment. What's going on right now with what's going on in the world, and so on, and also. enlightenment is a label. It's a label that the mind gives us.
Okay.
So it has basically no value. No value. If you had an experience and it changed you, it expanded your perception of who you are, it brought you to yourself, it erased all the questions about what this life is about, who you are, then you don't need to label it in any way. You just leave it.
Right.
You just leave it. You just be it. And but that experience definitely changed you, and all the like relating with people, relating with yourself, what you do in life, how you do it, it's all will spring from a different place.
I see. Right. You're feeding it through the enlightened filter, I guess, instead of just letting it all bombard you with life.
It's something opens in you.
Right.
In my personal case, it was my mind opened up, and I saw that I am not this small human being. And the heart opens up, and you feel compassion, because you see how people are not themselves and not in the moment, and they're not content, and they're full of pain, and they try to escape it. And you want to help them in a very individual way, because you know that what you went through is very individual, and nothing helped. Nothing. So it was very individual journey. So everybody has very individual journey. And so you don't go around and say, look, I'm enlightened and I can help you. Then you probably end up in a in a psychiatric ward.
They'll turn you in,
right?
Won't they?
No, you just I meet people, and you see in them more than they see in themselves, and that's where that's where I can help, because I see what people don't see about themselves. But the method, how to bring people to themselves in each individual journey will be very different, very different. Sometimes you just laugh with somebody, and sometimes you cry with somebody, and
Right.
sometimes you talk with somebody, and sometimes you tell a story about yourself.
But it only can come from, it can only go to somebody that is ready for it.
Sure.
And
And
wants it. I come from an
Sure.
alcoholic background. I've got decades and decades of sobriety, and I can't tell you how many people have asked me, can you help my husband? Can you have a talk with my son? It's like, no, absolutely not.
because
Because
as we
I'll
started,
look like I
yeah, exactly.
like who are you?
And we started with that there is some pain there
Right.
that the person is not seeing. It's not like he's not, or they are not willing to see. If they even knew that there is a pain there, a lot of people just don't even know that.
That's a good point.
Because at some point there was the pain, maybe it was in childhood or somewhere during the life, the pain was so big that the mind just kind of clicked.
Accepted it
They
as
clicked
normal?
in some way.
Yeah.
No, it clicked in some way not to feel it,
Okay.
not to look there.
Yeah.
And at that moment, that character was formed that is now seen as real. but it's just
Perception in your own head.
it's like a persona.
I see.
It's a persona. It's
Right.
like a character in the movie. The actor playing the character in the movie. Is the character in the movie describes the character who he is? No. It's just the character that he is playing. Tomorrow he will go and play another one in the movie. So somewhere in the childhood we get clicked into that character that that is very limiting, and escaping ourselves with different means like drinking. I also know my stepfather was drinking a lot, and it's an escape.
Right,
Right.
for sure.
And you tried this yourself,
Sure,
right?
right.
Okay. So and what you were escaping with?
I lost my mom when I was 9. Yeah, so then the family just kind of went all different directions, and like you, a new mom came in. Nothing was really, you know what I mean. You're just going through a young childhood without any, As soon as you get a driver's license, I just took off to the other side of the country, just to get out of there, just to get away from that, But it wasn't a terrible thing. It was more of what do I want to say? It was more like not an abandonment, but just lack of people knowing anything about you. You just it just kind of got lost.
So we come back to it's a pain.
Right, it's a pain. Right,
it's a certain pain that at this moment the human mind can't process.
right.
So we just pushed it. The mind itself pushed it.
Right.
And.
Picked up the
But
bottle.
without that pain, we cannot come to who we are. Like
Exactly.
without
Right.
actually feeling it fully, and feeling it fully, so fully that it's actually just get released.
And it just
It just
Right.
drops. It
Right.
just transforms into something else. My mom died too. I wasn't that young, but I felt so much pain, and but by that time I was a very serious meditator. So
Okay.
what I did, of course, I took the tool that I already had, the meditation, and I was sitting, and we were talking about concentration meditation. Now we come to the meditation that you start with concentration, but then you allow anything to be as it is. If the pain arises, you allow the pain, and the feeling arises, you allow the feeling. A lot of in our life right now, in many ways, people are not allowing themselves. They're not really in the full of the feeling or emotion. Everything, you can't really be emotional at work. You have to stuff it.
Right.
And if you stuff it
Together.
Yeah, and if you stuff it too many times, it's too much there, which is not felt, and you are playing this on the surface, and inside you have so much pain, And what meditation actually helps, and prayer too, though I'm not really familiar with prayer. Prayer for me arises spontaneously, and it's a rare occasion. But the meditation is more that what I practiced. And where the benefit is that with meditation you can allow yourself, your mind, to sit in the middle of really big pain.
Right.
You just, every day, if you train yourself to sit with what it is, first time maybe you sit 3 minutes, and then you sit 5, and then you sit 15 minutes, and in this time frame, maybe 40 minutes or something like that, I set every day like 1 hour in the morning and 1 hour at night. And at that time, if you don't really move, there is a lot starts to come up. First, it may be very surface, maybe pain in the body, right? Because you sit so long. But then the body get conditioned to sit, and it's easy to sit. But then the most interesting part starts, because it's still that monkey there, and monkey wants movement, right. And monkey will be doing movement now in the feeling body. So a lot of starts to feeling and emotions comes up, and that's the benefit of meditation, because you have to sit 40 minutes anyway.
Yeah.
Whatever comes up, you just sit.
Are you saying that some of that transfers to the emotional side, the physical? Or did I hear that wrong?
So what I'm saying is that with practice of meditation, if you continue, you will allow the feelings that will come up during the meditation just be.
Right.
Because if you, for example, at work and you have a feeling come up, you can't really stay with that feeling.
Right.
And if you're somebody who is not really used to feel a lot, you will just shift your attention to something. It will be more comfortable for you to put yourself into doing something instead of feeling something. In a meditation, where you need to sit, for example, 40 minutes, right? You have a time frame. Whatever comes up in that time frame, you know that you will have to sit and feel it anyway. And sometimes mind will give you all kinds of feelings that you didn't feel in your regular activities life, and you will be present to it. And that's why meditation is very beneficial, because we get in touch with that side of ourselves that we are not allowing in a regular life.
That makes a lot of sense. There's a lot of questions I had about, where are you trying to get to with meditation? Because I've just never gotten that far. I've heard people talk about after years of meditation, they finally got one hair of the dragon's tail, whatever that means. They finally are getting to the point where maybe they're starting to maybe understand a little bit about what they're doing. And I think that's how a monk explained to one of the guys, you've just got one hair off of the dragon's tail as it turned the corner and you missed it. It's just years and years of chasing the dragon.
It's usually these things expressed in metaphors, because human language cannot really describe anything from the conscious, more from
sense.
The expanded consciousness state.
Yeah.
So they use metaphors, and also the poets are the best to describe that state.
Oh, I see. Right.
And the music, people try to describe in different ways. I was trying to describe in my book, but it's interesting because at some point, I don't really remember much from my book at this point already.
Sure, I bet. Right.
But I remember I said something like, okay, but now, as I found it, but now life continues. And
to learn how to carry that forward?
And right now, for example, see, I stopped talking, right? I made a pause. I didn't make it. I just stopped. I had an experience, that, see, it's hard to talk about this, because when we talk, it's a conscious mind. It's that thinking mind, the analytical mind. But besides that, there is a bigger being, just being, right? So I stopped because it stopped.
It's just,
And that's the experience. And that's the experience.
Right.
The thing is that experience is a very subtle thing. It's not flashy. The words are very flashy, you know. The words are bring attention. And what we need as a human beings, we lack attention, we lack love from the childhood. That's how we was conditioned, and we constantly look for attention, the likes.
We're all seekers.
The constant seekers, exactly. Basically seekers of love that is, we got disconnected with that love for ourselves. So all the seeking, including the drugs and alcohol and workaholics and trying to express yourself and find a fulfillment in a outer, how would you say it, circumstances. It's all about lack of the love that we feel for ourselves.
There's a lot of that. There's a lot of that nowadays. A lot. Lack of knowing how to love themselves, right? I'm guilty of it too, right? You know, everybody has that level, but...
Well, it took me half a century.
to just even find the questions to ask. Yeah.
And it's all, like we were talking about your mom too, right? Somewhere was this pain.
Right.
And that pain was not allowing her to feel love for herself. And she was trying to compensate in it to maybe find a love of Jesus Christ.
Something, right.
Something from outside.
Right.
And some get lucky and they find the Christ inside and the love inside.
Sure, right. Jesus is love. I
yeah,
guess.
my
you find love, you find Jesus, they say. I don't know.
That's true. True. My background, spiritual background, is a Christian Orthodox because I'm from Russia. We are Christian Orthodox, but I never really was religious. And as I said in the book, when I was in a Zen monastery, I didn't understand all this bowing to Buddha, the same like in a Russian Orthodox church, constant bowing to Jesus. See, when you actually have that experience of dropping that seeker, let's say in a general way, just dropping the seeker, spiritual seeker, any kinds of seeker, doesn't matter. You just drop seeking for what is in the future, next moment, but you just come to yourself and this very moment, to your own being. I lost my train of thought, what I wanted to say. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's such interesting stuff. There's so you can go so deep into this stuff, and I can't even pretend to understand all of it because I haven't spent decades looking into it. But
this is a feeling. It's more not even understanding, not definitely intellectual understanding. I am into how you like to talk about yourself. I am not smart. I notice that. I can say about my own mind the same thing. I'm not smart. I don't even know what kind of IQ I have because I never did the test. But a lot of people confuse, the smart in the IQ way and real being real, understanding, deep understanding of a human nature. It's
Right.
completely different. It doesn't. You don't need to be smart, book smart,
Exactly.
or having high IQ. That is also an identity.
Mm-hmm.
That is also an escape. Why I need to tell everybody that I have 145 IQ, for example,
Right.
to compensate for
Exactly.
my love for myself.
Sure.
Because I still need attention. I still need love from
Right.
outside.
Exactly.
Because I'm lacking it in myself.
Mm-hmm.
If I have love for myself, I don't care what kind of IQ I have.
Right. Right.
That's the only what actually matters.
Sure.
That's the
Right.
only what matters.
Right. I don't think of myself as not smart as much as
But-
just uneducated, as leaving school at a very young age. But I can, there's a lot of things I'm intelligent about. I don't want you to think that I think I'm stupid or anything, but there are some subjects
I
where
don't
I'm so over
think
my
like
head
that.
sometimes.
But your mind have this. It's conditioning.
Yeah.
The mind, for
Right.
some reason, it needs to tell that
Yeah.
to make yourself maybe safe.
Right. I see that. Sure. Right. Right.
We won't go there,
Yeah.
Steve.
Right. Just like right out there. Sorry for sounding like an idiot. Right.
But all this psychological contractions. I'm not smart. I'm not enough. I'm not beautiful. I'm too fat. We were talking about this.
Conditioning, right.
all this contraction. It's all contractions. We contract ourselves in this smaller being that we are.
Right.
For some reason, there is a reason there. And it's interesting. If you only ask, you can, anytime your mind says something like this, or my mind say to me, Elena, you need to lose weight, for example, to have a video, right? We were talking about this. We can ask, who is talking?
Yeah.
Who is telling this?
Right.
Is this like imagine if this is consciousness would say, oh, like you're too fat or like not too smart.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter for the spirit what kind of experience in this. Like this is the vehicle for the spirit to have an experience.
Yeah.
It's thrill. Any experience, be you rich, fat, smart, dumb.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. It's a thrill in this lifetime to be in this body and like walk, talk, feel, experience, do different things. It doesn't matter what kind of things. It's. Do you see how even, people don't value themselves. They think, oh, I'm like this small human being living this small life, and look at Elon Musk, right? Oh
Yeah.
my God, he's accomplished and all that stuff. But imagine for eternal being, God, Spirit, is it difference what to experience? Like what to? It's like a different rides, different roller coasters.
I see. Okay. Right.
Like I'm right now on this ride, and my ride, my life story, doesn't matter if I'm accomplished or I'm rich or I am poor. It doesn't matter. It's interesting.
At this
unique.
moment.
It's
Right.
unique.
Right.
It's interesting.
But
it's
there's nothing
different.
wrong with looking forward and trying to project a future and seeing yourself somewhere in the future.
Right,
and
but but a lot of people just looking in the future,
Yeah.
and that's why they are not happy. A lot of
Right.
people need to go from that future, hear what's right now, and
Right.
understand how valuable let's say, God, spirit, or consciousness this human experience is.
Right.
How amazing this ride is. If you don't have money and you suffer and you struggle, this is feelings that are valuable because it's a real experience.
It is.
What is real is the feelings right now. What feeling are evoked right now, that's what is real. And
Which
people
I
have a
think-
problem to stay with what is real and shut that down, feel absolutely uncomfortable, and of course they are looking to something to change and
Right.
to somewhere
Drive.
outside, comparing themselves to others.
Sure.
Let's compare ourselves to Elon Musk because
Sure.
he has this amazing life, right? And we are here.
Right.
Yeah,
But he started out, I don't know where he started out.
But-
He doesn't start out with billions of dollars, you know.
and it doesn't really matter because
Right.
if you look at the variety, it's a variety of experiences, different like any experience is divine. Any experience, you have a value. Everybody have a value. Just living, just being alive, you're already fulfilling everything. You're fulfilling that God. You're fulfilling just being alive, breathing, and being in this organism, in this vehicle. It's a vehicle to have an experience.
Yeah.
So you're already enough. See, you're already worthy. See,
That's not the way we're raised, though.
right, and that's
You know,
why we
it's like
all are
we're never
seekers.
enough.
That's why we all are
Right,
seekers.
right.
We're seeking something that is not this,
Yeah.
and this is what valuable.
Right.
That's this breathing, this heart is beating right now.
Sure.
Whatever sensations is, whatever you feel. This is what real, and this is what valuable.
Yeah.
And if we start from that and acknowledge that and feel that and live that, how much more richer our experience is
Right.
than just denying all that.
Sure.
And in the head, it's all in the head, in the mind, we're reaching to somewhere else.
Sure.
And that's why we are all seekers.
Yeah.
Because we don't understand how amazing, how valuable we already are.
Yeah. I don't usually look inward like you know, like a seeker would. I guess maybe from my childhood, I don't try not to look too far inward. I know there's shortcomings, but what interests me is where I'm going to be in 10 years, and I try to focus who I'm going to be at that point.
Okay, this is this is like say it's a different property of a human mind
Right. I
to
see.
create
Okay.
the creation,
Right.
and we can
Because
like
the brain will just automatically do that. I didn't mean to cut you off.
and it's that focusing. It's like maybe you don't do formal meditation like we said before, but you actually, if you focus in a creative way into your future, for example,
Right.
and create in the future your image
Yeah.
in the future, that it's just a meditation.
Right. Like you say, I can't relate with that person who I was 20 years ago. Hopefully that's where I'll be in 20 years. Looking back, I can't relate with that guy that was, you know, in 2022. You know, it's just a constant evolution of where you need to be, where you're driving and striving to. Whatever my shortcomings happen to be, I need to use those in a way where that's going to propel me even better to get to where I can see that I want to be. You know what I'm saying? I'm using my inner
Yes,
turmoil and my childhood hate and anger, and I'm using that as a drive. Does that make sense?
Sure. We a bit talk about different realms right now,
Right.
a human realm
I
and
see.
more consciousness realm, but it's all one anyway, so we can talk about anything.
3 layers of this and that, but it all ends up
I
being...
am sure it's not only 3 layers.
Sure, yeah, right. That's real
it's
stupid
infinite
people, right?
number
It's
of layers,
exactly.
probably.
Yeah.
But one of the properties of the human mind is creation, is a free will, though not everybody exercising the free will, because the free will is only there if you are, if you're in the now, you are right now, right here, and you are not affected by conditioning. Otherwise, the mind goes in automatic reaction to
I
life.
see that for sure. Right.
So if you are conditioned and you're suppressed in that conditioning, so mind, you just follow basically. In life, you follow the mind, where the mind goes. And mind very limited. The thinking mind is very limited. It's only intellectual, what you learn, what you know, what you were told, and you just go in that direction and see how I'm telling this, because this is the rhythm, how you go in life. You just follow the mind. Free will is beyond that conditioning.
Right.
It arises only when there is no conditioning at the moment. You are real. You are with whatever is right now. If it's pain, pain. If it's joy, joy. Spontaneous. And then something arises, not from the mind. It's like intention. It's like intent. Intent. Some kind of intent arises, and
not from your conscious mind, you mean?
It's not from the thinking mind.
Right,
It's
I
not
see what
from
you're
the
saying.
logical, analytical mind. It arises somewhere in you. It involves the whole body.
It's still a need somewhere within you.
Let's say intention, it's more like I am creating this intention and intent, it's something beyond yourself. It's just there.
Right.
It's just there. And that is when the decision happens, and that's where the free will happens. It's not common, actually, in a modern human being to have a free will. We're so conditioned, and we operate inside this box that is our mind, which is conditioned.
Even though you think you're dealing from free will.
Yeah,
you're
think,
really not.
Sure, of course, you think you're free to choose.
Sure.
You're free to choose right now, but you listen to the news, and your choice is within that knowledge that you got from the news and from your parents and from society.
Teachers,
yeah, and you think you're free, but you're not. You basically, it's automatic program.
You're free within the constraints of your own imagination.
And that's why to dance, to listen to the music, to meditate, to be spontaneous is very beneficial, because with that, to be playful like a child, with that you break that box, right? And you have more chances to actually exercise the free will. When something arises in you beyond what you know. So you know how mission arises in people, and they make a choice at that moment. At that moment, it's a free choice.
Right. Very interesting. Well, you are one heck of a storyteller. I loved reading the book. I'd like to talk to you another hour about just your travels and where you've been. It's just amazing, you know.
We can meet again.
We'll do this again sometime.
What we are talking about is, because it's not linear. The thinking mind is a linear, right? Analytical mind is a linear. This is not linear what we were talking about, and that's why you say maybe sometimes I don't understand. Understanding is a linear. Feeling is not linear. Perception is not linear. So we're talking more, it's more like a matrix of things. And in that matrix, I can go any direction. So we can go to the left, to the right, bottom, up, anywhere. And because it's all one, like this life is this. It's nothing like people looking for something else, right? It's nothing else. It's this.
It's this.
And exactly. And in this moment, we can talk about very spiritual things and very material things, and it all will be about basically the same. That's why I like when in a Sufi tradition in the Middle East, somebody who achieves some kind of level of understanding, of perception of what it is, and called a teacher, but they don't really call themselves a teacher. They don't have this label. They go, where you can find them is in a marketplace. You go to bazaar, you know, and if you're ready, you meet somebody who is actually just doing their craft there. For example, they are sewing something, or they doing their craft, right? And they go into the marketplace because that's where the people are. They don't go to the monasteries where spiritual seekers are. They go to the people who are actually they just came to buy food for their family, and they're open to and they would be open to be guided. Because spiritual seekers are too conditioned to seek. The people who come to the market, they're not seeking, they just living.
They're just living.
And those people are more open.
I see.
To actually experience God within, let's say like this.
Right. Makes sense.
So yeah, marketplace.
Yeah. That's good
and
way
like
to look at it.
you bringing these conversations right to the marketplace. You're not talking to specific people.
Right.
You just put it out, and it's a marketplace. Whoever come across.
I remember going to an Easter Mass at a Catholic church, and the priest up front said, you know, if Jesus, it was a very affluent church, there was a lot of money there, you know, and the priest said, you know, if Jesus comes down back to earth right now, he's not coming here. He'll be somewhere where he's needed, you know, where he'll be in Africa, or he's not going to be here.
Oh, you mean America?
You know what I'm saying?
The United States?
Or in this rich little neighborhood that we were in, you know, I mean, he has no reason to come here. You know, I know y'all are, you know, coming to church and being good Catholics, but if Jesus came back, he just has no need to come here.
It's again,
it's the same kind of thing, right? Yeah.
He expressed something in metaphor.
Yeah.
In metaphor.
Right.
Yeah.
He'll go to where it's needed, where people need his guidance, right?
And open also, because if you... It's interesting because also to realize yourself, who you are really beyond just the materials, the material realm, you have to have like a thirst, you know. If you are rich, not much thirst there. You quenched your thirst with your money.
Exactly. Reached the
I
top
am
of
not
your
saying that rich people are not able, but remember how they said that, I don't know if I can quote that for sure, but it's very difficult for a rich person to achieve realization, just like for the elephant to go through the needle of a hole of a needle.
Right.
It was in the Bible. It is difficult because when you are less struggling in a material realm, then you have less thirst, you know.
I see. Right.
Because this, as we were talking, this seeking comes from pain. The more pain you have, the more there are people who also wealthy and opened up to spirit,
Right.
but majority of the spiritual seekers are those who seek out of pain.
Right. Right. Probably
They
richness
can-
comes out of that also. Some people are just have that quest to be rich, and even though I have $1 million in the bank, they still have that quest to keep going, you know. So
At
that's
the
an
end,
unhappiness somewhere.
at the end, anything in this world has that it's any experience has its own value, right? Being poor or being rich, it's just an experience. When you're poor, it's just a more contrast, and you're constantly in survival mode.
I see. Yeah.
And you're looking for it's a lot of scarcity.
Scarcity, sure.
A lot of scarcity. Then, for example, middle class, right? They don't have much scarcity, so they're looking for quality now. And the rich, they don't have scarcity, they have all the quality that they want. Now they're looking for presentation. It has to be beautiful, for example, right? But see how these three experiences, it's different experiences, and they all, each of them valid and divine. God made this in this way.
Right, right.
So you rich, poor, or any kind of education, any amount of money, doesn't matter.
Right, right.
If people can feel that value, that it's value in the experience, it doesn't matter difficult or it's easy, it's joy or it's depression. It's part of God.
Well, one of the reasons that I started this podcast is to talk about just the human aspect of America, where we don't have so much of a middle class anymore. It's starting to disappear. We don't have a whole lot of manufacturing here and that kind of thing. And I know you're very intelligent on the human mind. Where are we at? I know you're a little concerned about where the world is right now. You know, we're coming from a weird place, and it's almost Americans have this weird mindset, kind of what we're talking about. Where
it was very difficult for me to, in the beginning of 2020, it was very difficult to see how a lot of my friends and a lot of people just fall for the propaganda of the. I don't want to name.
Yeah, I know it's hard for this podcast because it's easy to get political in this in what I'm talking about, and I don't want to do that.
Yeah. So it was hard for me because I think because I had an experience of being brought up in a socialistic country, I saw suddenly the things that I experienced coming here. The propaganda, we losing the basic freedoms and so on. And it's hard for me to understand, though I do understand because why people conform in that way. Because they have no choice, because their mind works like this.
Right. And the first time I met you, you were kind of sad about that. I know you had kind of a sadness to you when I first met you because of what we were going through at that time, you know, and it was like, doggone it, like, what's going on?
So
you know?
Even though I feel that every experience is absolutely divine and valuable, it doesn't negate that at that moment, 2 years ago and a year ago, I felt called or moved to try to wake people up to what's going on.
Because you do have a background of coming from Russia, like when we first started the program. It's like, I want to know where you come from. So, you know, where are these perspectives coming from? Because they're very valuable, you know, and I'd love to hear you talk. And we do talk about that.
I'll tell you, especially it was very telling when everybody ran to the stores for the toilet paper. Because we had that problem in Russia.
I was going to ask
we
you that.
didn't
You've
have a toilet paper. And it's interesting because I remember people getting this toilet paper and having like a garland, right? They were standing like 5 hours in a line, got like 10 toilet paper rolls, got them on a string around their neck, and it's like, and they would be like walking home so happy. So it's interesting because
you've seen this before. You're just scratching your head.
The scarcity like that, and then getting it does lift the human spirit. It doesn't matter it's toilet paper on. I remember my mom would get a chicken and she would be like flying high, ecstatic, right? It does. So now when, what's his name? Klaus Schwab says, you will have nothing and you will be happy. I totally understand because I saw this. The only caveat I see in this, we were born into that life. We didn't know anything else. People here spoil it with different life, with different, with freedoms. And now to take that out them, or how you say it, to take away,
the freedoms away.
Yeah, to take away, that creates pain. To get the toilet paper for my parents was happiness. Here, people getting the toilet paper, they almost kill each other, and then they have depression that we don't have it anymore. Look what's going on. And that's completely different what's going on because we were born into this. For this generation, going through this transition will be very painful. Very painful.
But I think it'll pay off later, you know. I mean, I was raised by my grandparents who were, you know, born in 1909, you know, so they saw the worst, you know, of what they could have been. They were worth millions, but they would never even throw away a bread bag because they may need that bread bag someday, you know. It changes the mind, and maybe this generation will be like my grandparents, you know. Or
I
don't know.
That.
Or to a point, maybe not as bad as our depression.
It was interesting. I remember when I was a child, I was thinking, oh my God, my life will be so boring. The revolution done, World War I done, World War II done, everything done. This will be so boring life. Now, look what's going on. It's the in one way, I really like that I'm alive and I can see what's going on because it's so interesting. For me, it's like, wow, it's so epic. When I identify at the moment in this character that wants to wake up people, then there is pain there for people. When I am not identified and just look kind of like more generalized, like life is going, the earth is floating, days change with nights, and this going for eternity. And when you look from this perspective, wow, what's going on the planet Earth is like epic. It's so interesting. My God, we're so lucky to be alive to just experience this.
Truly, right. Go back into any time in the history. It's just a nightmare compared to where we're at now. But it's still very interesting, you know.
We don't know what's coming too, but still it's interesting. We don't choose this.
Right.
So when we're born, did you choose where to born, how, and no?
But if you would have, what would you have chosen? Right now, you wouldn't have want to been any time in the future.
I think, yeah, to be in the middle of the war, you know,
right.
I would not choose that.
Anytime, from cavemen.
That's true. That's true.
You know, to you look at the pyramids,
you know, to hunt the dinosaurs or whoever they go like.
Right. Yeah, I mean, we can go back and forth on how terrible it is now, but it's never been any close to as awesome it is right now.
So basically, it's not that bad right
now,
people.
It's not bad, really. I know. It seems like it, but take a broader look.
And it's wild ride. So the more unpredictable it is, the more interesting it is. It's for people who are scared right now, look in your childhood, right? Look in your childhood. If your days were the same and nothing really like thrilling, then it was boring. So can you take your life right now and apply the same thing? My life is not boring anymore. Look what's going on around. You never know what happened tomorrow.
Right. Yeah. It's not going to get boring, that's for sure.
No, the trip.
That's a constant trip. So, well, you are a traveling person. Tell me where you've been. You started out searching for enlightenment and brought you to all over the world, hasn't it? Have you been to India? You've been to... Tell me where you've started. That's just... I know where...
Yeah, I've been out in India and Nepal. And...
all these enlightened places that you're hearing about, right?
Places. Yeah. That's true. That part actually will go into the second book because the first book, this first book, Buddha on a Bull, it's about basically seeking for enlightenment or awakening experience, right? And then the second book is basically what's after, what's after when you actually found what you were seeking. And
now what?
And it's a different journey for everybody else.
Right. So this book is not written yet, the second book?
The second book written 2/3.
Okay.
But not edited and not completed.
Okay.
And this actually the third book is what I'm living right now. The second book is already also about my experience in the past.
Okay.
The third book is about what I'm living right now, and it is about exploring love.
I see. Okay.
So
on the top of the book, it says book one of a complete humanity series. Is that a series of authors, or is this you're talking about a series from yourself?
Series of books.
Yeah.
Series of that is actually for myself, because if I put that on that book, that's a series and it's a book one, so I have to
you have to follow it up.
That's how I set up myself.
There you go. See, you're planning for your future.
I know.
Very interesting. I can't even imagine sitting down and trying to put a book together. It's just an amazing feat, and you did it. How about that?
And again, there is it's how a human dance with God. I know I just spoke in metaphor and I didn't mean it. It just came out like this, right? But writing a book is sort of like a dance, because what's needed from the human is how you say it, the effort, the you have to want it, you have to need it, that thirst, and it's all human realm. And then to write book about enlightenment, that's not from me.
Sure, right.
Not from human, not from Elena.
Sure, right.
It's a dance with the grace. So a lot I am reading right now in the book, and I'm amazed because it came from me. It's not I made it. It just arose in me, and I just wrote
Channeled it.
Yeah, basically I wrote it. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
So
I hear that a lot about, artistic things, whether it be a painting or a book or whatever. It's like, I don't know where that came from. It just...
And this is that creativity and that creative side of the mind that we were talking about.
Yeah.
And I was saying that sometimes it's something arise from you, not from the mind itself, but from something bigger than that.
That's so
and we
interesting.
don't know what this place is.
Yeah.
We don't want to name it, because if we name it, it's already will be from the mind naming something to
Right.
understand. Who wants to understand? The thinking mind always wants to put everything in some kind of more defined, like define everything.
Right. You feel like it was just all the information was out there. You just channeled it and put it all together. I know I've heard comedians say that before, that I don't know where that hilarious joke came from. It was just out there in the air, and I just got it. And I just I don't know where it came from. That was a pretty interesting way to look at it.
And again, he explained it in metaphor. It was a joke, and I grabbed it and I pulled it down.
It wasn't
and
me.
Here it is.
It was there.
Yeah.
I don't know why it came to me.
It's impossible to explain. It's an experience.
Right.
And that's where the difference between thinking and explaining and understanding and experiencing, because experience involves the whole being,
Right.
the body, the senses, the feelings, the thoughts, everything.
Everything, huh? Yeah. I know you've talked to me about you're going to take this and rewrite it in Russian.
Oh,
How far
yes.
are we on that now? Because I know you've said that some of your people are like, how come you don't put it into different languages,
Yes,
or
I am-
audiobook, or...
Yeah, I am...
Still in the thought process?
No, working on it.
Oh, okay.
Actually, it's translated.
It is? Oh,
Yes,
okay.
yes, and half already edited.
Oh, wow.
So it's only because this is very small book.
Sure,
it's
yeah,
a very
right.
very small book. It's
Beginning of a long series.
it's a small book, but it's just number one.
Right.
Yes. So because okay, let me tell you this. I wrote a big draft, right? This is called a draft or something when you write a book. Okay, I forgot this word.
Manuscript or whatever.
But
whatever
yeah,
it is,
manuscript, right. And because I didn't finish it, at some point I just felt I need to release this. People need it. I just felt people need it now. And I published it in 2019, and I just felt that people need it now. So what I did, I just cut a manuscript in the middle, and that's how book one came out.
Perfect.
And what I didn't finish, I'll finish
That's
later.
right. That's for the next book.
Yes.
And I was reading there a little bit about how you were trying to figure out what to put on the front cover. It's an amazing looking book. It said you had some cutouts of different things, and you're just throwing things out there. And the Buddha happened to land on the Wall Street Bull.
Yes,
and
yes.
you were just like, "That's perfect."
Yes,
That's
yes.
exactly what it was.
I was doing a collage, and many people who dream about having different things in their life, I made a collage, and I put pictures on a wall, and I had Wall Street Buddha there to represent a material abundance.
I see.
And then I had a Buddha head, and because I already put the collage together, I had no really place to put, and something like it drew me to put it right on a Wall Street Bull. And I looked, it was such a revelation to me.
Right.
It was such a revelation. I felt almost ashamed that I did that, because I was a spiritual seeker for so long, and with so many teachers and so many great teachings. And suddenly I'm taking this representation of enlightened being, and I just put him on a Wall Street Bull, and I felt almost ashamed. What did I do? And then I look at it, and I'm like, wow, that's such a bold move. That was a bold move.
Exactly.
That was courageous move, and it instantly gave me an insight that material and spiritual is the same. It's a human realm, and we have different, let's say, different ways of being, and being with different things, and this all want to experience. And so that's how it came.
All extremities, all drawn into one. I was going to say it's a perfect encompassing of what I felt you were trying to get to.
Yeah, and we usually think one or another.
Yeah.
It's dichotomy.
But you don't have to leave the bull behind to get some kind of peace in your life too.
And then come back.
You can still maybe stay on the bull a little bit, but have a little. I think that's how I saw it anyways. You're not asking people to just leave their life as they know it.
The people usually, when they start on a spiritual path, they vilify money, financial and material, and a lot of people would just run away from their life, right?
Right.
And go live somewhere in India, right?
Yeah, give away all their possessions,
Exactly.
And maybe that's where their evil is.
Let go of possessions. But what happened with all these people? They come back from India, back to what they were, and actually even more freer if they actually found what they were looking for in India. They came back. They understand this is the way of being. This is a way how society operates. We do operate with money within financial system. It is what it is.
That's exactly it. What I was trying to get to in my messy way, right?
And basically, incorporate anything that available for a human being here to experience without attachment. That's what. If they went to India and learned that, no attachment.
That's so interesting. That's exactly how it's. You never. They always say don't judge a book by its cover, and I've picked up so many books that are just kind of not represented by the cover, but this nails it.
Thank you.
It just nails it. It's perfect, and I can't wait to see the rest of the books. And I can't wait to see you get these into different languages, because there are people all over the world that need that message. You know, you don't have to throw everything away, and you know, went through a lot of hell to get to this book. So we appreciate that.
Yeah. Thank you for inviting me to talk.
All right.
We usually do massage.
I know. Next time will be a massage. Awesome. Thank you for coming.